This is a fictional first-person narrative inspired by real historical events and civilian experiences during the occupation of Norway in World War II. Before fear, before occupation, winter came first. In that place, cold did not ask permission, it arrived and stayed. I lived far from the main road where silence was part of daily life. Survival had always required attention, but that winter felt heavier than all the others. Snow fell without pause, erasing paths and hiding traces, and I knew that if I wanted to endure, I would have to keep going into the mountains. Mining was never about wealth. It was about trading stone for bread. I left before dawn every day, carrying simple tools wrapped in cloth so they would not make noise. Every sound felt louder than it should in that white stillness. I dug where my father once taught me, where water still moved beneath the ice, where the frozen ground sometimes offered a small chance. Some days I returned with almost nothing, but almost nothing was still better than nothing. When the occupation reached our region, there were no explosions where I lived. What changed was everything else. Roads felt different, people spoke less, eyes lingered longer than necessary. I kept mining, but I learned quickly that I had to change. I never used the same path twice. I never returned at the same hour. Being predictable became dangerous. That winter was the coldest I could remember. Some days my fingers stopped responding. Digging hurt, but stopping hurt more. At night I counted firewood and bread, calculating if it would last another day. Sleeping deeply was risky. The cold punished carelessness. Soon I realized I was no longer alone. Footprints appeared where only untouched snow should have been. Tools shifted slightly. Marks in the ground did not belong to me. I did not know who was watching, and not knowing was worse than knowing. I began hiding part of what I found, burying small bundles far from the main site, never carrying everything at once. I learned to lose before losing it all. The first theft revealed itself quietly. I noticed the weight before I saw it. The bag was lighter. The stones I had carefully set aside were gone. There was no confrontation, no words, only silence, and the certainty that someone had been watching me for days. That night I ate less, saved less, and barely slept. I considered leaving, but leaving meant crossing areas under watch, so I stayed. I changed hours, worked shorter shifts, and accepted that not everything I found would remain mine. Survival was not about winning, it was about continuing. Weeks later, I arrived to find the place torn apart. Nothing remained. Tools were broken, marks showed haste. Someone wanted me gone. I sat in the snow until my body stopped shaking. It was not just the cold, it was the understanding that surviving that winter would demand even more silence. Food grew scarce, trading became rare. There were mornings when I questioned whether standing up was worth it, and yet I stood. Not because of courage, but because the body learns to continue. Sometimes survival is simply repeating the same movement every day. Then slowly the light began to stay a little longer. Snow still covered the ground. Fear was still present. But winter was easing. I returned to digging, slower and more careful. I found little, but it was enough. And in those days, enough was everything. In times of war, surviving did not always mean fighting. It meant enduring cold, silence, and loss. I did not defeat anyone. I simply continued.